few months ago, this was me. Lying on my bed, eating fatty, grubby snacks and watching movies while thinking to myself, imagine being one of those lunatics out running right now. I couldn't imagine anything worse. But then a question came to me. What would drive someone to commit to something like running? To put your body through such an intense amount of physical pain and exhaustion? To put aside what anyone else may think and just throw yourself into it? And so I rose out of my pit and began searching. I scoured the internet, thinking I would find an answer relatively easily, only to discover it's a little more complicated than that. And so I set out to find the answer myself. I got in touch with some runners to find out their stories, and set off on my own running journey to find out why anyone would ever want to do this. The first step on my mission was to contact someone who, similar to myself, had got into running relatively recently. I arranged to meet with her at a park nearby and set to work grilling her on her running journey. What first inspired you to get into running then?
So I actually first got inspired by an influencer called Cassia. I was following her online running journey after she took it up after having a bout of depression, and she just put it in such a positive light, and I kind of just decided to take on that mindset of it, to see it in, you know, more of a liberating activity rather than this chore that I feel like I previously saw it under.
Was there ever a moment where you almost gave up, and what motivated you to carry on?
So when I first tried to start running back in COVID, I tried to do Couch to 5k, and it was just a bit of a flop for me. Like I just really hated every minute of it, to be honest. I actually started running around my garden and around a park nearby because I didn't want anyone to see me, because I was really struggling to run, and it was like red hot as well, so it was just a bit of a nightmare for me. So yeah, I didn't really enjoy it that time around, and sort of gave it up then. And sort of just decided at the time, oh, I'm not a runner, it's not for me, you know, I'm not built for it, type of thing.
So how would you describe the feeling when you completed a long distance run or an event, for example?
So, I mean, in general, pretty amazing, like, especially after an event. I mean, the endorphins and like the sense of achievement is just like unmatched. But it's not always great, to be honest, like especially after a long run. If I haven't fueled properly, or if I haven't had enough sleep, for example, I kind of feel pretty destroyed, honestly, like, and I just feel like the day is over after that. I just feel pretty knackered.
Do you have a particular warm-up routine that you like to do before training?
Yeah, so I'd always start with leg swings and stuff. To be honest, I can actually just show you, it'll probably be easier than me explaining it, if you want to have a go.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, cool. So I'd always start with leg swings. So you just start doing this.
What, like sort of like
just,
this?
Yeah, forward and backwards. Try and keep it straight at the back. You're bending it quite a lot at the back.
Alright.
This is just to get the hamstrings going.
I thought that's what you were doing. I thought you were bending it backwards, that's what I was right.
Well, try not to.
Okay.
And then do that sideways as well. Just good for the hips as well. And then other side.
I feel like I'm doing it so wrong.
I know, well, it does feel a bit unnatural. It does feel a bit unnatural.
Feels like it's working though.
Good, that's a good sign.
I soon put what I'd learned from Liz into practice and headed out to begin my training, with the aim of eventually completing a long-ish run. But I still had a long way to go before I reached that point. Regardless, over the next couple of weeks, I upped my training and conquered my first milestone, a 5k. Despite my discoveries so far, I was still struggling to figure out why people would get into running as a serious hobby, so I contacted a couple of people I knew who'd been running for over a year and had some experience of running at an event level.
Racing is so different than practice or like just going on regular runs, because you have that energy of like all the people with signs and all that stuff, and it feels professional, because obviously when you're going on a run by yourself it's just you running, but then when you're in a race you can see all these people with you, and then the number also makes it feel like you're doing something. I mean, I think they say like only the top 1%, or not top 1, but 1% of the world completes marathons every year. So like knowing that, and knowing that I was able to do that, I think was something that I was really proud of.
Was there ever a moment on your running journey where you almost gave up, and what motivated you to carry on?
There was one park run I did where I was absolutely tipping it down with rain, and there were puddles where it's like your whole foot and like halfway up your legs just in water. And I came around this corner and there's this big puddle in this and around this corner. And I took the corner way too sharp because I was trying to make time up for like the final sprint. And my legs just went from underneath me, and I just fell straight into the puddle. Kind of, I was soaked all the way through already, but it was kind of like half my head completely underwater, scraped all down my arm. I was so cold I couldn't feel anything, but it was kind of like in that moment I was like, can I really be bothered to stand back up and carry on? But I did. I dragged myself back up, and like, it's strange because at the end of it, I'm soaking wet, freezing cold. I get back home, my hands are so cold I can't even turn the key to open my front door. But when you get in, finally got into the house, it's kind of like, yeah, that was really great fun. I think because I've been running for ages, had you asked me if I'd done that a year earlier, it would have been like one of the worst experiences of my life. But I think because running's this weird kind of like addictive and rewarding thing, I think just pushing through in general helps to then push through similar things later.
And why do you think running's so popular now, especially?
Well, I think that it's in a lot of sports, so a lot of people will train for it in general, but then I think it's a very simple way to exercise. And actually, I think the reason more people don't do it is because they don't actually know how to start running. Like, a lot of people think like when you just go for a run, it's just a sprint or max effort. But if you go really slow in a pace that like you can talk in or whatever, it makes it more enjoyable to run. And I think it's just easier to do anyway. Like, you don't have to go to a gym where you don't know how to use any of the equipment. Like, most people know how to run. So it's just like easy, I guess.
Boosted by Snow and Ethan's encouraging words, I ploughed on with my training. I was running at least one 5k a week, which in itself was a struggle for me, but that still couldn't come close to preparing me for what I was about to embark on. Okay, so I'm going to be running along the Butler's Wharf New Roadside Air Valley towpath, which is just over 7.5 kilometres, which is a fair bit further than I've ran before. I know it might not sound like much of a challenge compared to what other runners have achieved, because it isn't, but it's still a challenge for me. Just reached the 1k mark, still feeling good. Wish this hill would end though. Just past the 2k mark. Think I'm coming to the end of the hill at long last. So, fingers crossed. I think it should be pretty easy from now on. By the 3rd kilometre of my journey, I was already starting to get a little worn out. Making good progress. My legs are getting tired already though, which is worrying me a little bit. Just past 4k, which means I'm over the halfway mark, so I'm feeling good. Starting to lose my breath a bit. Before long, I'd matched my record of 5k, but not without it taking its toll. It's a struggle to speak, to be honest. Legs are losing it as well. Feel like they're kind of flopping along. Reaching the 6k mark didn't bring me much joy either. My breathing is all over the place. Cannot wait for this to be over and to get a nice hot cup of coffee. Got half a kilometre left to go. Don't feel much like talking right now, to be honest. As I reached the end of my journey, I discovered, to my dismay, that my running app had conned me into running an extra half a kilometre, meaning I'd actually ran 8k. Still, I found I'd come to some interesting conclusions.
Sweating buckets now though, as you can probably see. Genuinely itching everywhere as well. Shouldn't help when you've got eczema, which I'm lucky enough to have. But yeah, I'm feeling good after it. Everything that runners say after you've completed a run, like the runner's high, that kind of like elation is true, as well as the negatives where you start to get tired, you're doubting whether you're going to get through it. But it's definitely something I don't regret doing. Feel good, my head feels clear. Woke up with a banging headache this morning, that seems to have gone. So yeah, it was definitely worthwhile.
And so my running journey came to an end, or at least for now. While it's definitely been a struggle, I have enjoyed it, and I may well continue to run in the future. For the moment though, I think I'll treat myself to a few of those snacks.